Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a grand solar minimum update. Sunday, October 13th, 1 a.m. Mountain Time 2019. Check out the GFS models showing 12 feet of snow in British Columbia. Yeah, through the end of the run. Could be 10 feet. It doesn't matter. 10 to 12 feet by October 28th is boom time. Keep calm. That's why you're here. Yes. 3 dead following Southern California wildfires. Warm, dry offshore winds were expected to give way to cooler Pacific breezes, and they have. People are moving back, but the death toll has risen. One victim was identified as Luis Arxon, 89. The other is not yet named. Now we're talking about the Calamisa sandalwood fire, which we originally reported on 3 days ago, taking the lives of several people. The blaze is now 25% contained at just over 800 acres. In LA, the Saddle Ridge fire, which we reported on last night, consumed over 7,000 acres, and a man had a heart attack Thursday night in the community of Porter Ranch and later died at the hospital. Saddle Ridge is now almost 20% contained. So as the fires go out and the cool winds whip on shore, the power outages also wane. The only state with notable power outages currently is Texas, with just under 15,000 reported out. California is back to normal, with only less than 3,000 people without power. Snowy, windy weekend ahead for much of Minnesota. In North Dakota, an unusually early blizzard could have devastating effects on farms and fields. Yeah. A fierce storm crippling North Dakota has far less dire effects in Minnesota on Friday. But the evening, an inch or two of snow already covered ground in West counties and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there are crops out there, and this is a quick snippet.
From fire to snow and ice, an autumn snowstorm is hitting an area from North Dakota to Wisconsin. The Dakotas are getting the worst of it, though. Some places are experiencing blizzard conditions with poor visibility. Harvey, North Dakota has gotten 2.5 feet of snow. From fire to snow and ice, an autumn snowstorm is hitting an area from North Dakota to Wisconsin. The Dakotas are getting the worst of it, though. Some places are experiencing blizzard conditions with poor visibility. Harvey, North Dakota has gotten 2.5 feet of snow.
Holy macaroni.
From fire
to ice. North Dakota towns report more than 2 feet of snow. Check out the totals from across the state, including totals up to 27 inches, which will be cinches near Harvey, 30. Harvey, 27 inches. Fresden, 27. Langdon, 27. Bissek, 25. Near Devil's Lake, 24. Maddock, 24. Hey, and this is in the last 24 hours. Has nothing to do with the totals we reported on yesterday. Early snowstorm presents a huge challenge for North Dakota farming communities. Well, as the third week of fall sets in, crops are buried. The early October snowstorm that buried much of the eastern 2/3 of North Dakota, say it ain't soda, is creating an immediate crisis for farmers and ranchers and people looking for water. Because it's all froze up, folks. Can you imagine that? The storm that moved in late Wednesday continued to drop snow in some areas on Saturday. Harvey, which is a city, not a storm name, had a storm total of 30 inches. And Bismarck, a little more than 16, which is right on the mark. Which is not good for crops, especially if you haven't harvested them. You know what's good for skiing? Snow! Shut up, Al! Get in your hole! You fucking prick. I am so sick of that guy. We had bundt cake tonight. It was actually key lime pie. We just call it bundt cake every night. but it was key lime pie. Maybe a little pumpkin in there. And he got Ready Whip. Breaking news, Arapahoe Basin, Colorado will open Tuesday. That's today. Or is that yesterday? Holy shit, they're already open. They had a 2-day blitz yesterday. Extravaganza, like a bonanza, followed by a 4-hour drinking binge at the bar. Now, Ajo Basin ski area in Colorado just announced that they opened yesterday. But they announced it the day before they opened, which was 3 days before now. So we're kind of late. But this is unprecedented because they only opened for 2 hours and then the bar stayed open for 11 more. So there was actually more drinking than actual skiing. Things are looking great in the upper section of the mountain. And the Arapahoe Basin crew is chucking it down. Now, they barely just closed a few weeks ago, and they're back open. Hello! GFS model showing heavy snow throughout the entire Northern Hemisphere. It's like queer. Look at this. Holy shit. And even some snow coming up here in the models at the end of October for upstate New York. Hello, Catskills. Yeah, the Catskill region looking to pick up the most numbers. I hope you have the apples off the trees already and you're pressing them because it's getting pressing. Look at that. It could be depressing. But I digress. That is not where we really want to focus our attention. Check out the 6 feet of snow in Washington State on the GFS models showing up, by October 27th. But BC showing some ridiculous numbers, 10 plus feet in some regions. Yeah, just east of Port Hardy. Hello. Now, no one lives up here. Well, actually, people do, but we're talking a 400-mile stretch of more than 6 feet of snow. Hello. Before the end of October. Here's the current snowpack. Can you imagine how that will shift in the next several weeks? I can. Storm outages on track to break provincial record, Manitoba Hydro. Now, we hypothesized about this last night. We even postulated that there were way more power outages than the intentional power outages in California. And that seems to be the case. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people will be left without power due to this early fall storm in Manitoba. Hello. Prairie farmers' woes continue as poor weather halts harvest activity. Not only that, fat fingers and small barley grains. Well, it's insane. That might even be triticale. I have no idea what that grain is. But stress line calls increase as snow, rain make harvest difficult in certain regions. And we just showed you the maps. Those regions are going to continue to be estranged from their wives for the rest of their lives. Stan Jeeves, who farms near Woosley, Saskatchewan, holds a crop that was damaged by mildew and other shit. Poor weather and the fact that he didn't harvest a fucking thing here in the snow here. Hello! He could barely feed this to his chickens. But the food you eat is food for sheep anyway, especially if you eat Doritos. Michigan insecticide spraying could threaten vulnerable bugs. This is unprecedented. Now they're spraying these toxic chemicals from aloft to control, and even from the roads, to control the mosquitoes. And they're worried about bugs, for Christ's sake. There's like a box weevil or some shit. What about the people? What about the newborn babies in Michigan? Are you kidding me? You're worried about some bugs? Or how about the endangered Mitchell's satire butterfly? How about the people in Michigan? We're worried about the butterflies. Oh my God, we got to reopen that. That's some good coverage. At least 5 dead and 15 missing as Typhoon Hagibis slams Japan. Now, we've had some space weather to accentuate this over the last 2 days. But I want you to listen to what this guy has to say in the very beginning of the video before we get to the seismic update. And we are obviously missing another page, but it's not here. I don't know.
I see what's possible instead of what's here.
So we gotta watch
see
this
cracked
Schmidio.
concrete.
We'll just mute. Can you imagine that people pay money to
Color.
hundreds of thousands of dollars for this type of advertising? What is this for?
Games or hangouts or whatever.
For painting the floor of a gymnasium?
That's why I made.
Why would you pay money for this project? GoDaddy, Blackboard, goodbye. Let's talk about dead people. A powerful typhoon pounded Tokyo and surrounding areas with heavy rain and strong winds on Saturday, which is Saturday in Pagosa, killing at least 7 people, which all should have been smoking concentrates. And we're going to get to the audio and the video, which is not a schmidio, but it is extremely entertaining and informing. Now, 15 others are missing. Japan's chief government spokesman, Yoshida Soga, told the Associated Press, Wakayua. He said damage to housing from the flooding is extensive, and Diamond should turn on his webcam. That's what he said. And it's so bright, I had to tone it down. Maybe a little more. Holy shit. We got some good video here. Some 376,000 homes are without electricity, similar to Manitoba and California. And 14,000 homes lack running water, which never had it to begin with. The storm Typhoon Hagibis is totally fluxing the region. But more than that, it is bringing together the electric universe, geology, and actual science right before your very lives. And these puppets are just reporting on it. They have no idea what they're saying, but they're saying amazing things. And let's listen right now.
There is some breaking news out of Japan this morning.
Let's turn his volume up.
An earthquake was felt.
Shut up.
Tokyo. There is some breaking news out of Japan this morning. A magnitude 5.7 earthquake was felt throughout Tokyo. It happened just as Typhoon Hagibis, the largest storm to hit Japan in over half a century, made landfall as a Category 2 storm west of Tokyo. Out of Japan this morning, a magnitude 5.7 earthquake was felt throughout Tokyo. It happened just as Typhoon Hagibis, the largest storm to hit Japan in over half a century, made landfall as a Category 2 storm west of Tokyo. Randy Inocencio is there.
Wow. Maybe there's some connection between tropical storms, low pressure systems, and the Earth's circuit. Maybe this earthquake that was triggered here, 5.7 downgraded by the USGS downgrade service to 5.3 in Katsura, Japan. Maybe, just maybe, that has something to do with something. Maybe low pressure systems trigger these moderate to larger earthquakes between 5 to 7 mag. Maybe they do. Maybe we've been reporting for the last 3 years how almost a dozen times tropical storms or major low pressure depressions over seismic regions trigger moderate to larger than moderate earthquakes. We're talking 5 to 7 mag, nothing bigger. Once you get to 6.5 or greater, we're talking space weather, like the 8.3 in Mexico that was triggered by anyway, I digress. We're talking about weather systems triggering earthquakes. Can you imagine that? Could you imagine if you actually told someone that a weather system triggered an earthquake? They'd be like, oh, okay. Come over to quakewatch.net and get schooled on real science. The science of low pressure systems that trigger earthquakes. Now, the Earth has a global electric circuit that we're just delving into. But what we know is that when major low pressure systems approach huge fracture zones, like mid-ocean ridges, even subduction zones, which might not even be real, but they're labeled as such, we have major earthquakes. We have moderately major, moderate earthquakes, actually. But that's what happens every time. Well, 60% of the time. Worldwide volcano news update. Popo puffing to 19,000, which is insignificant. Dukono and everything else. Just a puff and a pass. But what's real is global unrest worldwide. Haiti unrest. Protesters forced back from president's home. Well, I hope they get to him. The tear gas is real and it burns your eyes. Thousands of anti-government protesters in Haiti have clashed with police who stopped them marching on the home of President Jovenel Moïse. I totally ruptured that name. But this took all day in the making. There's like 5 varieties in there. Nahimemo Joseph was found dead in his car with a gunshot wound on Thursday. Protesters are demanding Mr. Moïse's resignation. I don't know what's going on there, but it's up. Ecuador protests just as up. President imposes curfew amid worsening violence. Well, they're not lined up in front of his house, but shit's burning in the city. And that's looking gritty. Ecuador president has ordered capital Quito and surrounding areas be placed under curfew to bid the curve. Look at this. Shit's just burning. Just like a pile of rubble. People in sheets and shields. And it's burning. Totally awesome. Can't wait. Why are you in a city? That's all I have to say. You see the facts. Here is more subliminal facts right up your cracks. Frozen Earth and Snowpiercer is a grim and possible future to our warming planet. Now, people sent me some of this, some of the trailers to this months ago. And I said, it's not new. This is not a new ploy. This is just normal shit where in plain sight they're telling you the facts. And Snowpiercer is no different than the facts. And what they claim in this article, which is a sharticle from Non-Science, aka Live Science, is that global warming is going to bring us to the brink or the edge of insanity where we're going to deploy some kind of geoengineering project that's going to destroy the planet and send us into snowball Earth, just like in the Snowpiercer. But it could be no further from the truth except a deception in plain sight of the fact that there is no such thing as man-made global warming and that no matter what we do, it's all an act. Yeah, it's a Hollywood production. A production of the schmuction of the function to your reduction of brain chemistry and IQ and other shit. They want you to be a sloth suckling from a tube out of the side of a building as you get fat and shit in a hole in your couch. I saw that movie. Yeah. Is the world economy sliding into its first recession since you were fucked in 2008? Well, yeah, it's 10 years already. Duh. Thank you, Bloomberg, for telling us what we already know. If we're not diversified into precious metals, cash buried in the backyard, and Bitcoin, you're going to get loin. You're going to get lean. You're going to get creamed. If you think your 401k and that retirement plan is better than the 7-inch fatty that I stuffed all day, you're mistaken. NASA's Icon launches to study the boundary between Earth and space. The long-delayed mission is finally in orbit, and it's anyone's guess when the first solar flare will take this bitch out and it'll crash down on someone's head. NASA's Ionospheric Connection Explorer Icon spacecraft is finally in orbit just above our heads and waiting to crash down upon us as the magnetic excursion ensues and solar flares pick up during solar cycle 25 in the next several years. Now, the postponed launches by Northrop Grumman don't matter because this piece of garbage is going to fall down on your heads, and where it hits is anyone's guess. It's that awesome. Seismic update. No quakes of note, except this 3.0 in Lilburn, Missouri. Yeah. New Madrid much? And how about the boomer over here? Over the typhoon. That was a typhoon boom and the first boom of the night. Yes. I said it. This baby's coming back home soon. Hubble snaps spiral galaxy profile from Hydra constellation 80 million light years away. Plus or minus 80 million light years. According to the redshift hypothesis. But I digress. We're going to have some amazing talks about the electric universe on the Electric View. And we're going to be interviewing Neil Thompson in the near future. More specifically, Tuesday, which will be your lose day, or the day after Canadian Thanksgiving, which many of you don't even know about. And neither did I, but certain Canadians told me about it. And now I know that Canada has Thanksgiving based on its own rebellion. And we have our own Thanksgiving based on our own farce narrative. Yes, that the white man discovered North America and we didn't murder 80 million natives. Which we did inadvertently and directly, by the way. It's fantastical. I don't even know what they're teaching kids in school, but it's certainly not anything that I learned. And these pictures are amazing. Why is the Milky Way galaxy getting so gassy? Well, it's because of the milk. And humans are lactose intolerant to begin with. But there seems to be an imbalance in our galaxy based on false science and other shit, where there's more blue than pink, according to this article, which is a total sharticle. Because again, it's from not at all alive science. Yeah. It's amazing. The more I read there, the dumber I get. Goodbye, Columbus. And then we're talking Christopher, the white supremacist asshole who was chosen by white people hundreds of years later to represent me. Well, you know what I think about that? This is the biggest representation of what I think Christopher Columbus deserves. Right up his... Because the powers that be have fed you this false narrative that I got taught in grade school, that your children are being, I'm sure, fed up right up there. And if you're in a Roman Catholic church, hello, do not let them be an altar boy. Now, more states jettison the day paying homage to the non-explorer that didn't discover a fucking thing. Wow! This is a rare occurrence when history is being corrected. This prick represents nothing but an idea of a fascist world regime that wants to control your ass And until you realize that the lie has been recycled again and again to make you fucking comply, you will forever be a fucking sheep. I hope you got something out of the video. Times are changing, and Diamond doesn't give a fuck. You can suck it. Be safe. We love you.